In 1987, Jack Campbell says goodbye to his college girlfriend, Kate Reynolds, before heading to London for a one-year internship at Barclays. As Jack is about to board the plane, Kate pleads with him to stay and begin their life together. He reassures her that their love will endure and that the year apart will pass quickly. While Jack believes his decision will strengthen their relationship, Kate thinks they should stay together. 13 years later, on Christmas Eve, Jack is a wealthy, self-centered bachelor living in a penthouse in New York, working as the president of P.K. Lassiter and Company on Wall Street. He spent the night with one of the many women attracted by his high status. The next morning, he casually flirts with Betty Peterson in the elevator, but she jokingly rejects him. After leaving the building, Jack chats briefly with Tony, a hotel staff member, before driving to work in his Ferrari. At work, Jack leads a meeting to organize a multi-billion-dollar merger. He schedules another meeting for Christmas Day, instead of encouraging his team, especially Alan Mintz, to spend the holiday with their families. When Jack returns to his office, his assistant Adele informs him that his ex-girlfriend, Kate Reynolds, has called. Jack dismisses her call, acting uninterested. Just then, his boss, Peter Lassiter, enters to discuss work matters and advises Jack to focus on his career over visiting his aunt. He then talks to Peter about his ex-girlfriend reaching out after so many years, and Peter suggests that it's something Jack should just forget. Jack leaves the building and decides to walk home. At a convenience store, Jack buys eggnog and overhears Cash talking to the clerk about a winning ticket worth $238. The clerk refuses to cash the ticket, claiming it's fake. Frustrated, Cash pulls out a gun, but Jack steps in, calms him down, and offers to buy the ticket for $200. After the deal, Jack tries to help Cash, thinking he needs financial or emotional support. Cash responds that Jack has everything he needs, adding that he brought it all on himself. Jack is confused but goes home, alone, to spend Christmas Eve in bed. On Christmas morning, Jack wakes up in New Jersey and is shocked to discover that he and Kate have 2 children, Annie and Josh. He quickly goes downstairs and meets Lorraine and Ed, Kate's parents. When Jack tries to borrow a car to go to New York, Ed gives him the keys to their minivan instead of his Ferrari. At the building where his penthouse is, Jack is confused when Tony and Betty don't recognize him and think he's a homeless man. The receptionist tells him the building is closed for the day, and he's even more surprised to find out that Alan Mintz is now the president of Lassiter and Company. Realizing his life is completely different, Jack rushes outside and spots Cash driving his Ferrari. Later, Cash tells Jack that what he's going through is a glimpse he needs to figure out on his own. He gives Jack a bicycle bell and leaves Jack alone on the street. With no other option, Jack drives back to New Jersey. When he can't find his house, he asks a man named Arnie for directions. Arnie recognizes him as a close friend and invites Jack inside. Arnie tells Jack that Kate has been looking for him all day and offers to help him find her. Back at Kate's house, she is very worried about Jack leaving without telling her where he was. Jack tries to explain that he's not the same Jack she knows, but Kate doesn't understand. Jack rings the bicycle bell, hoping it will change something, but it only makes Arnie come into the room thinking it's his Christmas gift. Later, Kate asks Jack to get ready for a Christmas party. Annie looks at her dad strangely, then quickly rushes downstairs, feeling that something isn't right. At the party, Evelyn flirts with Jack, and he's unsure if there's something going on between them. Later, Jack overhears Kate talking to her friends and learns that she's a non-profit lawyer, which slightly disappoints him. The next morning, Jack wakes up to Josh crying, and Kate reminds him that it's his turn to take care of the kids. Jack changes Josh's diaper while Annie gives him instructions from a distance. Realizing that the Jack she knows isn't really her dad, Annie confronts him. She decides that he's just a copy made by aliens and happily welcomes him to Earth. Afterwards, Jack drops off Josh and Annie at daycare and school. Following Annie's directions, he goes to Big Ed's Tires, where he works as a tire salesman. When Jack arrives, he discovers that he has a private office full of his daughter's drawings and family photos, completely different from his office back on Wall Street. Later that evening, Jack watches the news and gets upset when he sees Alan's multi-billion-dollar deal. Suddenly, Kate walks in and tries to get closer to him. He looks at her and tells her how beautiful she is. While Kate changes into a flattering nightgown, Jack pretends to be asleep. The next day, the family goes to the shopping mall, where Jack sees an expensive suit that reminds him of his old life. When Kate says they can't afford the $2,400 suit, Jack blames her for him giving up his dreams. She responds that the Jack she married never liked a luxurious lifestyle. On the drive home, Jack apologizes to Kate for his behavior at the mall. Jack and Kate talk, and Jack learns that Ed had a heart attack, which led him to take a job at the tire store to help his father-in-law. The next day, Jack spends time at the bowling alley with his friends. There, he runs into Evelyn, who confirms that she's been hoping for an affair with him for years. Later, Jack talks to Arnie, who advises him against cheating on Kate. Arnie reminds him that any man in town would be lucky to have Kate as a wife. When Jack gets home, he watches an old VHS tape of himself singing to Kate on her birthday. As he watches, he realizes that he never stopped loving her. The next morning, Kate surprises Jack with a wedding anniversary gift, a knockoff suit like the one he tried on at the mall. However, Jack doesn't remember that it's their anniversary and has nothing planned. As Jack makes chocolate milk for Annie, he learns that the real Jack always does something special for their anniversary. Realizing he can still surprise Kate, Jack decides to take her to an expensive restaurant in the city. Over dinner, they have a meaningful conversation, and Jack begins to truly appreciate family life. They end the evening with champagne, and Jack is happy he could make up for forgetting their special day. The next morning, Jack feels more confident about being a dad. At work, he runs into Peter Lassiter, his former boss, who needs new tires for his car. While waiting for the car to be fixed, Jack shares his thoughts on a deal they worked on, which impresses Peter. Peter invites him to their Wall Street office to meet with him and Alan Mintz, the company's current president. During the meeting, Jack tries to impress Peter and Alan by showing off his knowledge, hoping to prove that his people skills could help the company. This convinces Peter to offer him a job. Later, when they're alone, Alan confronts Jack angrily about trying to get hired. Instead of fighting back, Jack compliments Alan for finally being assertive, a change from the shy person he once knew. Later, Jack takes Kate to the penthouse, a perk he gets for working at the company. He tells her about the new job, but she doesn't take it well. She worries that his new career could harm their family life. Back home, Jack finds his 1987 plane ticket to London, showing that he did fly out but came back the next day to be with Kate. After thinking it over, Kate tells Jack that she'll support his new job, even though it will change their family life. She says it doesn't matter where they live, as long as they're happy and together. The next day, Jack, still thinking about Kate's selfless decision, realizes how much he values the life he's built with his family in the suburbs. He decides to turn down the job offer, putting his priorities in the right place. He's determined to stay with Kate and the kids, and that choice fills him with a sense of peace. Later, Jack heads to the store to buy some salt for the driveway. While he's there, he unexpectedly runs into Cash, who is now working as the store clerk. Cash, as usual, carries a sense of mystery, and Jack, content with the life he has now, tells him he doesn't want to go back to his old life in the city. However, Cash gives him a cryptic reminder that the glimpse Jack has seen of this life isn't permanent, hinting that Jack will soon return to the life he had before. Jack goes home and, standing at the doorway, takes one last meaningful look at his family. He whispers to Kate, asking her to remember him the way he is right now, content, at peace, and truly present. The next morning, Jack wakes up in his penthouse on Christmas morning. He's disoriented at first, but as the fog clears, he realizes that he's back in his old life. He's no longer the man who was living in the suburbs, but the person who had left it all behind. Jack drives to New Jersey, hoping to reconnect with Kate, only to find that she no longer lives there. His heart sinks as he realizes that everything he thought was real has shifted once again. On his way back to the city, Jack's phone rings, and it's Adele reminding him that he's late for an important merger meeting. This moment feels so far removed from the family life he just left behind. At the conference, Jack walks into a room where Alan Mintz is clearly stressed, worried about the merger deal falling apart. Jack, now less motivated by money and more interested in personal connections, reassures his team and tells them he'll fly to Aspen to try to resolve the issue. His mind is elsewhere. He can't shake the thought of Kate. Before his trip, Jack gets Kate's new address and decides to visit her. He learns that she's become a successful lawyer and is moving to Paris for a new job. She's also never married, which gives Jack hope that there's still a chance for them. Jack invites Kate for coffee, but she hands him a box of his old things, explaining it was the reason she called. She's moved on, but Jack asks if she ever wondered what could have been. Kate suggests they have that coffee in Paris someday. It's a bittersweet response, leaving Jack with a sense of possibility and hope, realizing that love might still be in their future despite the years apart. Jack leaves Kate's place, but instead of flying to Aspen, he drives back to his penthouse. Once inside, he sits down with the box containing his old belongings. As he sifts through it, he comes across a book, and when he flips it open, a picture of him and Kate as a couple falls out. Seeing the picture brings a flood of memories, reigniting something inside him. With a sudden surge of emotion, he realizes that he can't let her go and decides to make one last effort to fix what he left behind. Without a second thought, Jack rushes out the door, feeling a sense of urgency he hasn't had in years. He dashes through the airport, weaving through crowds, and somehow, just in the nick of time, catches Kate before she boards her flight, flipping the script from 13 years ago when he was the one leaving. Out of breath but relieved, Jack invites Kate to sit down for coffee. However, Kate, who has been through so much since he left, assumes this is just an attempt for closure. She tells him that while she was devastated when he walked away all those years ago, she has since moved on. She gently suggests that he too should let go and move forward with his life. As Kate turns to walk toward her gate, Jack watches her, filled with emotions. He feels as if he can't let her go again without speaking his truth. With his heart racing, he follows her and stops her before she boards. In a voice thick with emotion, Jack starts to describe a life they could have had together, living in a house in Jersey, raising 2 beautiful children, and keeping the passionate love they shared alive, even after 13 years of marriage. Kate is taken aback, her eyes filling with tears as she listens to Jack's heartfelt confession. The weight of his words hits her deeply. For a moment, she stands frozen, unsure of what to say. After a long pause, Jack quietly asks her if she ever wondered what their life could have been had things turned out differently. Kate, now visibly moved, looks at him for a long moment, trying to process everything he's said. Slowly, she admits that she's been carrying the weight of their past too, and although she's moved on, she can't ignore the deep connection they once had. Finally, she agrees to the coffee date, offering him a glimmer of hope, leaving Jack with the feeling that maybe, just maybe, their love still has a chance after all.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.